From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, November 22nd, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.51 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,228 per ounce. Zen is trading at $8, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,510. Antiwar.com reports President Trump's maybe he did and maybe he didn't proclamation on the Saudi Crown Prince's involvement in the murder of Jamal Khashoggi isn't going to suffice, as leaders of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee are now demanding he provide a definitive determination on the incident. Legally, this is no longer down to simple presidential stubbornness, as the Magnitsky Act obliges the president to make determinations about the violation of human rights by global leaders within 120 days of a committee request. The first request from the committee was made on October 10th, so the clock is running. The committee likely did not intend to have to force Trump's hand like this, as the president had previously suggested the U.S. would be making a determination. Yet, in the end, this final determination boiled down to dismissing the CIA assessment as the Crown Prince was guilty and arguing that Saudi business interests are too important to risk whether they murdered a journalist or not. Both houses of Congress are increasingly critical, both of the Saudis and of the administration, for helping the Saudis cover up what they did. Representative Tulsi Gabbard, in particular, noted on Wednesday that being Saudi Arabia's bitch did not align with Trump's stated goals of America first. President Trump is showing no signs he expects this to die down in the future. Instead, he continued to loudly praise the Saudis on Wednesday, crediting them with bringing down the price of oil. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. UPI reports an Arizona jury found a Border Patrol agent not guilty on Wednesday of involuntary manslaughter in the death of a Mexican teen in a 2012 cross-border shooting. Jurors in the court of U.S. District Court Judge Ranner Collins in Tucson, Arizona, acquitted Border Patrol agent Lonnie Schwartz of the involuntary manslaughter charge for shooting and killing 16-year-old Jose Antonio Elana Rodriguez, but did not come to a verdict on account of voluntary manslaughter. A status hearing on the voluntary manslaughter charge was scheduled to be held December 11th to determine whether or not a hung jury will be declared. Schwartz's defense attorney says he can't be retried on the higher charge of voluntary manslaughter in the future because he was acquitted on the involuntary manslaughter charge. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Defense Secretary Jim Mattis said on Wednesday that he had been granted authority to allow troops on the Mexican border greater powers to help protect border officials and would await direction from the Department of Homeland Security. Reuters reported on Monday that the White House was likely to give troops authority to protect Customs and Border Protection agents stationed along the U.S. border with Mexico if they come under threat from migrants seeking to cross into the United States. Speaking with reporters on Wednesday, Mattis confirmed that he had been given the additional authority, but would await a request from DHS before deciding how to use it. Mattis said depending on the DHS request, the troops may be given powers to temporarily detain migrants, but not the authority to arrest them. They would only be permitted to detain migrants for minutes, not even hours, while they hand them over to border agents. He said troops could help protect the border agents with shields and batons, but would be unarmed. Two U.S. officials speaking on the condition of anonymity said a memo signed by White House Chief of Staff John Kelly gave Mattis the authority to protect immigration agents and, if necessary, could include actions like the use of lethal force, crowd control, temporary detention, and cursory searches. The Pentagon had said in the past there were no plans for U.S. forces to interact with migrants and that they have been carrying out support tasks. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the U.S., 22 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you're someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com, home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life. MatchingDonors.com.
Every handshake can lead to something different. And whether it's assembling parts or starting startups, each deserves a banking partnership that's one of a kind. At CIBC, we tailor our services to you. We deliver on your business goals with an experienced commercial banking team you know and the resources of a bank with 150 years of putting clients first. A handshake with us leads to a banking partnership that's made for you. CIBC Commercial Banking. CIBC Bank USA, member FDIC.
USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
On this Thanksgiving, the death toll in the Camp Fire has risen to 83, with 2 more bodies found yesterday. A CAL FIRE spokesman says when it comes to structures destroyed,
total structures destroyed, 18,431.
The annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade stepping off in New York City on what's one of the coldest days in its history. This parade goer says to Fox News,
I have 3 pairs of pants on, thermal shirt, sweater, and 2 jackets.
This Thanksgiving 2018 also marks 55 years since one of America's greatest tragedies.
President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time.
News legend Walter Cronkite announcing the assassination of JFK in Dallas. And this is USA Radio News. Annually watched on TV on Thanksgiving Day by as many or more people than watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is the National Dog Show. This year it's the 17th annual edition, airing again on NBC. Host John O'Hurley says it's really good for the dogs that you love so much.
In order to keep these breeds alive, intact, to celebrate the form and function, we have the AKC and we have the shows to show them off.
By the way, the show was actually recorded earlier this month in Philadelphia. It just airs today. The stage set for the NFL's annual Thanksgiving tripleheader, with all 3 games featuring some big divisional matchups. The NFC North leading Bears visiting the Lions in Detroit. NFC East leading Redskins playing the Cowboys at Dallas. The NFC South leading Saints seeking a 10th straight win, hosting the Falcons in the nightcap. Remember, we never take a holiday, either on the air or online. Find us at usaradio.com. More now on Northern California's huge Camp Fire, which, as we told you, has killed 83 people. Jean White, among the lucky ones, making it out alive, and spoke to USA Radio's Wendy King about the rescue of her mother.
Praise the Lord. My mama up in Magalia, she's 89. The power went out, so she couldn't get her car out of the garage. So she left everything and walked out with trees blazing. And she was found on Preston, covered head to foot in black soot by an angel, this man in a truck. I have no idea who he is, but he picked her up just as she was saying, God, you can take me now, because she thought that was the end. And he picked her up and put her in his truck and brought her down the hill. You know, and in your head, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and it is darker than night. And your head is trying to figure out how come there's no light. How come there's no light?
Again, that is a Camp Fire evacuee, Jean White, speaking to USA Radio's Wendy King. And for USA Radio News, I'm Chris Barnes.
Every handshake can lead to something different. And whether it's building buildings or delivering foods, each deserves a banking partnership that's one of a kind. At CIBC, we tailor our services to you. We deliver on your business goals with an experienced commercial banking team you know and the resources of a bank with 150 years of putting clients first. A handshake with us leads to a banking partnership that's made for you. CIBC Commercial Banking. CIBC Bank USA, member FDIC.
Radio. It's nothing new. It's been here all along, with free entertainment, news, sports, music, and information. It's not just part of life, it's part of who we are. You know which station is going to tell you the score of the game, which one's going to give you a laugh in the morning, which one is going to give you something to sing along with. You know where to turn when the weather gets rough. When something big happens, good or bad, you know where to go because radio has been here all along. Radio is part of your community, woven into the fabric of what makes home, home. And now, radio has evolved to move with you with the Next Radio app and your FM-enabled phone. Just plug in your headphones to start experiencing radio in a whole new way while using way less battery and data than streaming apps. Check out the live guide to see and interact with live radio stations. Easily find your favorites like the one you're listening to right now. And as always, it's totally free. Download the Next Radio app today. Next Radio, live and local wherever you go.
Remember back a few years ago when you wanted to sell something? Where could you advertise that product? You had so many media to choose from. There were signboards and newspapers and radio and television. Which one should you pick? Well, thanks to Heartland Newsfeed, those days are over. Let us help you plan a print ad, an online ad, or a radio ad that will target your customer. And the price is based on the type of advertising you want to do, the size of the print ad, or the length of the radio spot. Or you can choose all three. And our prices are considerably more affordable than the competition. And best of all, we guarantee satisfaction. If you don't like your ad, we'll do it over for you. We want you to be satisfied with what we do, so you'll let us plan your advertising over and over. So call Heartland Newsfeed today at 1-866-285-4117. That's 1-866-285-4117. It's a new type of advertising for a brand new century.
From CBC News, it's The World This Hour. I'm Joe Cummings. After tabling his fall fiscal update yesterday in the House of Commons, Finance Minister Bill Morneau is now busy selling it to the country's business community. With his corporate tax incentives front and center, his first stop was a breakfast meeting this morning at the Economic Club of Canada. Evan Dyer reports.
Yesterday's fiscal update had a price tag of about $17.5 billion, and more than 90% of that is the cost of various tax savings for businesses. That's why one former parliamentary budget officer described it as deficit financing the corporate sector. But Finance Minister Bill Morneau says he's not dealing with ordinary circumstances because the U.S. is running its economy on a sugar high of corporate tax cuts financed by massive deficit spending. And that's redirected investment flows into the United States at the expense of Canada. But rather than seeking to match that across-the-board U.S. corporate tax cut, Canada is introducing a system where companies will have to invest in new equipment or assets in order to qualify for a deduction. That in turn may lead to higher revenues in the future, but in the short term, the measures will push Canada's finances deeper into the red. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
New details are emerging about the accusations against the BC Legislature's clerk and sergeant-at-arms. A special advisor says he was brought in last January to investigate the activities of Craig James and Gary Lentz. That information was later given to the RCMP, who started an investigation themselves in September. James and Lentz have been suspended. They were suspended last week. The reason for that suspension has still not officially been revealed. Britain and the European Union have reached a draft agreement on what kind of a relationship they will have after Brexit. Here's Prime Minister Theresa May speaking today outside 10 Downing.
This is the right deal for the UK. It delivers on the vote of the referendum. It brings back control of our borders, our money and our laws. And it does so while protecting jobs, protecting our security, and protecting the integrity of the United Kingdom.
Last week, Britain and the EU reached a separate agreement on how the withdrawal itself will work. EU leaders will meet this Sunday to sign off on both deals. 5 children have been killed outside a primary school in northeastern China after being struck by a car. Security camera footage shows the children crossing the street when a car approaches. It changes lanes and appears to swerve directly into the group. Police in the city of Huludao can't say at this point if it was a deliberate act, but the driver has been taken into custody. The UN's weather agency is warning the window of opportunity to act against climate change is nearly closed. It found last year that the level of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere hit a record high. The agency says the last time the Earth saw such a high concentration of carbon dioxide was at least 3 million years ago. Concentrations of other heat-trapping gases, including methane, are also at record highs. Now to Northern California. It's rain falling across the region scorched this month by the deadliest wildfire in California history. More than 40 millimeters are expected over the next few days, and fire official Josh White says it's complicating the ongoing search for remains.
We're under flash flood warnings right now, and we've sent those alerts out to the folks. And what that means is the amount of rainfall, since we're on the top of a ridge, the amount of rainfall, it's got to go somewhere. So there's potential for flooding down in those lower areas.
2 more bodies were discovered yesterday, bringing the number of confirmed deaths from the Camp Fire to 83. More than 500 people are still listed as missing. 50 years ago today, the Beatles released an eccentric masterpiece that has now become known as the White Album.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9.
That, of course, is Revolution 9, one of 30 tracks that make up the double album that is officially titled The Beatles. It also featured such classic as Blackbird, Back of the USSR, Helter Skelter, and Rocky Raccoon, among others. It is one of the best-selling albums of all time, with more than 25 million copies sold worldwide. And that is the World This Hour. I'm Joe Cummings.
Hey, Steve Harvey here for the Illinois Broadcasters Association, and in a recent survey, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency was asked to name the top 5 items that every Illinois family needs to have in their home's emergency disaster kit. Check out these answers. Water, can't live without it. Number 2, non-perishable food. Well, after all, a man gotta eat, right? Number 3, weather radio, and make sure you got fresh batteries too. Number 4, flashlight, even more reason to have fresh batteries on hand. Number 5, first aid kit. Look, there's no reason to feud over what items to put in your family's emergency disaster kit. Get the answers and more at ready.illinois.gov. That's ready.illinois.gov.
Sponsored by the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Betty White. I know you don't need one more thing to worry about, but listen, high blood pressure can cause kidney damage, blindness, heart attack, stroke, and you can have high blood pressure even if you feel all right. 1 in 7 adults has it, but it's easy to get your blood pressure checked, and you can treat it if it is too high. So don't worry about it, don't ignore it, just see your doctor and check it out.
For your free booklet, visit the Will Rogers Institute at wrinstitute.org and find us on Facebook and Twitter.